What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Well-Rounded Individual. I'm your host, Adam Schindler. Once again, I am going to be doing another solo episode. The guest that I had for this week has had a bit of some health issues, so we just thought it would be best to postpone. But she is an amazing guest. I am looking forward to having her on again in the future. But we got another great solo episode today, and it's not going to be just me talking. I have put up a couple different polls and questions on my Instagram story, and I got tons of feedback. I got a lot of really great questions from everyone who listens, all those who listen, just on different things to talk about here on the podcast, things that you're interested in. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everyone who participated in that, because you guys really loaded me with a lot of great questions that I think is going to provide some really good content. So thank you so much. Last week I did the solo episode, and it was kind of just me going off the cuff. I said a little bit about myself, a little bit about my life and my story, and honestly, I thought it was kind of not that great, but I got a lot of really good feedback from it as well. So again, thank you for everyone who listened to it. Thank you for everyone who takes interest in what I'm providing, and I hope it's valuable to you, and I think it is, because you guys are giving me some really great feedback. So let's get right into it. So I've probably got about 20, maybe even in between 20 and 30 questions that I'd like to answer over this next hour and just elaborate on, and some really just, really good, thoughtful questions as well. So let's get right to it. So the first one is going to be we're going to start off pretty vague, right? So the first one is just, how do you define success in your life? And that's a pretty nuanced question, because, success means different things to different people. And it's meant different things to me at different stages of my life. You know what I mean? Like, people can think that success is monetary or accolades or, just a list of accomplishments on paper. But it can also be, things like, being happy with what you're doing, waking up excited to get to to do what you get to do every single day. So I think for me, honestly, and obviously I want to be successful in all those terms, right? So I want to definitely be comfortable in my life. I want to be able to provide for my son, provide for, different things that he wants to do, provide for a nice life for me and, a family that I could potentially have as well. But beyond that, what success really looks like to me is providing value to others, waking up happy with what I get to do every day, and being able to build, right? Looking at my life and being excited for what the future holds, being able to do what I'd like to do throughout the day, and being my own master. I always tell everyone that I talk to about this particular subject that, being my own master, being my own boss is worth more than any number that you could pay me to be part of a system that my mind doesn't align with. Right. So being successful, just being able to be creative and express, different trains of thought, and being able to help others also discover things about themselves. So, man, success can be such a dynamic word, and such a dynamic goal, right? So what is success? I think we can define that in so many different ways, but that's what it is to me. Being happy, making others around me happy, providing value, laughing a lot. Of course, being able to provide things as well, necessities to me and my loved ones, but, just living a life that I enjoy and that helps other people. That's success. Awesome. I think that's a good start to this. So let's go. What is number 2? How do you manage stress and maintain mental well-being. Whew, that one's a tough one. Because, again, in different chapters of your life, you have different types of problems, you have different types of stress, and you have different types of what well-being looks like and different desires. And I think that, you know, how I've grown and been able to handle stress and handle ups and downs along the way is um, through doing hard things, right? So, the greatest stress reliever in all of the world is physical exercise, and it's free. If you want to go for a run and get off some stress, there's the road. It's right there for you. All you need is a pair of shoes. You might not even need a pair of shoes, but working out, running. People oftentimes ask me like, why I run so much, and that's part of it. I always know I'm going to feel better anytime I feel any type of stress. Instead of turning to, you know, any type of negative thing that could numb my pain or mask what happened or just lead me in a direction uh, to handle stress in a poor way, hit the gym, hit the streets, hit the road, run, do yoga, go to the gym, uh, do jujitsu, spar, box, hit pads, whatever it may be. I think that physical exercise is the number one stress reliever in all of the world. And just mental well-being, right? So I think just consistently doing things that challenge you on a daily basis allow you to have a perspective of gratitude. Right? When you try to make everything easy all the time, it's going to make your life hard. It really is. If you're spending so much effort trying to make things easier on yourself, you're going to have a long road ahead of you because things are not going to be easier. They're going to be hard they say the obstacle is the way, right? There's a book called The Obstacle is the Way. And that's just really thinking about that hard thing that you've been avoiding because you don't want to is what's going to get you to the other side of what you don't want to do. Right? So just tackling hard things and, being grateful that you're able to, I think is a great way to handle stress and have a positive frame of mind. Right? Nowadays everyone's talking about gratitude, but what really is gratitude? How many times do you hear someone talk about having like starting their day with gratitude, and then they're bitching and complaining all day too, right? It's an easy thing to say, but gratitude isn't just saying, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, but it's taking action in that as well. Showing people that you have gratitude for them, for their presence, how you treat other people, and just being that positive light. Yeah. It's hard to have a bad day when you're so grateful for the life that you live. And even if you're not feeling that way, you can be the light for someone else, which in turn will light your own light. So I think that's a great way to do it. I hope that sums it up. I hope it makes sense. And I've come full circle on that answer as well. Awesome. Great question. Let's get into the next question. What is your main goal in life? Man, this is another kind of vague or widespread question, but this is also has changed throughout my life. I want to live a happy life. I want my son to be happy every day when he wakes up. I want him to experience all the things that he wants to experience. I want him to have fun. I want him to have manners and respect and grow relationships. So that's probably what I would say my main life goal is to cultivate relationships where anytime I leave a room or a conversation or an encounter with someone else, they think of me in a positive light. And they think, wow, like that interaction made me better. Um, maybe not the the answer you're looking for. Um, I'm at a point in my life where I have a good life. Um, I don't need uh, a mansion or, you know, unlimited money or any type of list of things that I need to accomplish. I have a great list of things that I need to accomplish. You know, anytime I want something, I can get it, within reason. Um, I live a privileged life. So, what I want to do is portray that on others and portray goodness on others and be able to leave a positive impact. So, there we go. Let's go into the next one. I love this question. Shout out to the guy who left this question. And I'm not going to be able to give you like a whole lot of science on it. I've listened to some podcasts on this, but I can give you some strategies that I think could help. But it's, what are your thoughts on the current state of health as it pertains to men? Overall sperm count decreasing and suicide rates increasing. That is a loaded question right there. So we'll just start with the current state of health for men. I think this encompasses both mental and physical health, which work hand in hand, because we're talking about suicide rates increasing and just physical health decreasing, and I think that may have one has something to do with the other, not exclusively, but many times to get out of a funk, you get yourself feeling good and looking good and in shape, it can help. It's not a cure, but it can definitely help. My brother and I were in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, this past June, and he and I took our kids to a water park. And I live in Las Vegas, and I also work in the fitness industry. So I'm surrounded by healthy people a lot. So my view on what my personal view of what men's health is probably quite skewed because of the echo chamber of in shape people that I reside in. However, we were at a water park in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I was just freaking blown away at the size of everyone. It was insane. There were thousands of people at this water park. At least 1,000. Let's say 1,000. And let's say of those 1,000, 400 were men, were adult men. I saw me and my brother, that's 2. So that is, that's 1% of 1%. I saw one other dad that was in shape. And not just one other dad that was in shape, but like all the other dads were not only not in shape, but morbidly obese. I would say 80% of them were. And it wasn't a judgment thing on my end. It was oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for their kids, because these dads weren't old. They were probably in their 20s and 30s. And what's going to happen? What kind of example does that set for children growing up, seeing the leader of their household be lazy and be a slob and not have any discipline when it comes to food or exercise? Like, what happens in the day? Whenever I was younger in my 20s, I was like, what do people who don't work out do? Right? So what example are we setting for this younger generation that is morbidly obese for the most part as well coming up in America, when that's the example they're setting or that they're getting. It's really hard to change that problem without people who are willing to lead by example. So the current state of health is as far as men goes in America overall, I would say is pretty poor. I think there are a lot of really good people and a lot of really good, strong voices online and in person that are looking to change that and are working diligently to change it. But it isn't even about one person changing someone else, because everyone has to start within their own selves. There has to be pride. You have to really reignite the pride in a man to take care of himself and be a leader and be strong, not because it's macho, but because it's the right thing to do, to lead for your family and to lead for the people who care about you and who depend on you. So yeah, it's poor. it's poor. We need to start holding people more accountable. The food needs to change. It's really convenient to eat really poorly. But this is the thing. I eat very well, and it's really convenient for me. You know why? Because it's easy. Like, I don't want to go into detail on my diet, but it's not complicated. But many people think it's boring. So it's being able to do the right thing when it doesn't make you feel good immediately. That works into exercise. That works into diet. That works into how you behave around your kids. That works into how you treat others and how you talk to others as well. I don't really know a whole lot about the overall sperm count decreasing. I would say that it probably has something to do with the lack of exercise and the bullshit food that most men ingest. I'm not really sure. I can't really dig into that too deeply, just because I don't like to talk about things I don't really know that much about. But I would venture to say it has something to do with poor diet and lack of exercise. And then suicide rates increasing. Man, that one's tough, because men are so more susceptible to suicide. It happens on both ends, but much more male-dominated way of dying. And I think I'm also not super schooled on this as well, but just from an outsider perspective, I think that, taking ownership of yourself and not relying on others to help you. Man, I don't even know if that's right. It starts within yourself, right? But I think it's just a cultural thing. I think that men now are only valued for what they provide. And once they can't provide something and they're not a commodity anymore, they can be worthless in a lot of areas. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. But you have to find value within yourself that doesn't hinge on someone else saying you're good enough. You have to find something within yourself that makes you feel good about you. And I think that turns everything around, because a lot of times when do men kill themselves, right? Like, it's over breakups, it's financial loss, it's things of that nature. And if you find something within yourself that makes you proud of you, you can make money doing it. You can, if the lady who doesn't want you anymore, I'm sure there's another one out there that will, if you prove yourself valuable, right? So find value within yourself. And I don't really want to elaborate any more on that just by myself, because I would like to get other perspectives to bounce ideas off of. But that's what I think. Take ownership of yourself. Find something that's valuable within you, and create value for yourself. And don't live and die on a hill of one particular person thinking that you're worth it, right? I think that happens a lot. Men, when a woman, doesn't want them anymore, or, tries to take their family or whatever it may be, we can feel worthless. And you have to provide something that makes you feel worth beyond what other people say. All right, let's end that there. All right. Love this question. So, how does the mind influence the process of body transformation, and to what extent? And man, that one's a good one. Fully, absolutely fully, the mind, everything in your world is a creation of, or a perspective of, your mind. So for your body to transform, your mind first has to believe it's capable. Also, for your body to transform, your mind has to push you to do the work. Your mind also has to create a plan or follow a plan to do the work. It's everything. It's 90. We'll go 90% mental. I could say 99, right? But I mean, obviously, there's a lot of physical hard work that goes into transforming a body. But if you don't have the mental fortitude to even start, then it's never going to happen. So in the beginning, it's 100% mental, right? Because it has to be 100% mental to even begin. And then once you're there, you have to keep that strong mind in order to continue to follow these processes and follow this plan and goal that you have, right? So it's the most important thing. Without mental strength, physical strength is nothing. Because any strong man, physically strong man with a weak mind can be broken. But the other way around isn't even quite true, right? So you can find a very strong man and a man who's not quite as strong as him, right? But the very strong man's mental isn't strong, but the regular man has a very strong mind, right? His mind will never let him give up. That's true endurance. He will outlast the weak-minded man 100 times out of 100 times, right? There's a saying that I like to say, and it's that strength and power is nothing without endurance. Because strength and power are very important and can help in many ways. But if you can't endure hard times, because hard times are going to come, your strength and your power mean nothing. Because life isn't a game of short terms. It's a long-term thing. And playing the long game, you got to have endurance, which comes down to having a strong brain and a strong mind and a fortitude that doesn't let you give up and doesn't let you quit. Shout out Ray for that one. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, let's get into some funner stuff, some high rock stuff, some high rocks questions. So this question is, what to expect out of your first high rocks? Must do's and don'ts. Depends on what level you're doing it, whether you're doing partners, whether you're doing a relay. What I would expect you to do is have a lot of fun. Definitely train. You should be running consistently because running is half of the competition. But especially if you're going to be doing doubles, go and have fun. Do it with a friend. Work hard. Make your training fun. Push each other. Get stronger. But within the competition, that day it's going to go really fast. You're going to have an amazing time. You're going to meet a lot of other really cool people. The hardest part for me physically was the sled push. I would say at the pro men sled push is 202 kgs, which is like 446 pounds. Quite different than the regular men's, and the regular men's and the pro women's are the same weight. I think it's 153 kgs, which is like 330 something, right? And then the female, the regular female is something like, maybe it's 100 kgs. Yeah, so it's a little over 200 pounds. So the sled push was difficult, not in the actual pushing of the sled, but the running afterwards. So what I would say is really train pushing the full 50 meters and then going to run as fast as you can afterwards, right? So if you want to train, I think that one's tough. Compromised running is much, much different. When you're training and you're doing, one of the events, then you're resting and then you're running. Then you're doing another event and then you're resting and you're running. It doesn't really quite give you the look that you're going to get and that you're going to feel within the competition, because there's no breaks. You're going straight from one obstacle and one exercise right into a run every time, 8 kilometers. So 8 different exercises. So train compromised running. Other than that, it's going to be really fun. What are some other things that I thought were difficult? Just keeping that pace. Don't blow yourself out on the run. If you want to run fast and you're going for time, stay consistent. Know that giving your best effort all the time is the best way to finish as fast as you possibly can, right? Don't worry about time. Worry about doing your best all the time. That happened to me because I was really focused on, a specific time. And after I pushed, which was the second exercise, and my run was just garbage for me, I was like, there's no way I'm running the time that I wanted to run. So at that point, I couldn't sulk in it. I was like, all right, what I have to do is just do as well as I can right now. And that really helped me. And it made it fun because I wasn't worried about my time anymore. Yeah, of course, I was checking the clock to see, you want to know, you want to finish as fast as you possibly can. But I didn't have expectation, and I wasn't worried about the clock anymore. And I was just out there to have fun, push myself, and do my best. So that's what I would say. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. What's the next one? Ooh, this is a sobriety question. I really like this question. So for those of you guys who don't know, I am a little over 2 years sober from alcohol. Maybe it's the 18th of this month will be 2 years and 2 months. So how has sobriety enhanced your life? And what about that process has made you a more well-rounded individual? Man. Okay. So I am definitely looking forward to answering this question. Just going to make sure that I don't talk the whole rest of the time about it. So sobriety has been everything to me. I've always been a high performer. My whole entire life, I've performed at high levels. I've competed at high levels. I've always done good things, but I always sold myself short. I was hitting the reset button on myself every weekend. I would go out, I would drink, I would blow money that I could have invested into other things to improve my life. I would spend all day Sunday on the couch. I would feel sad when I have an amazing life. There have been times whenever I went out on a weekend and drank on the weekend and literally lived a life that's portrayed in a movie. That everything that you could imagine that someone would want would happen to me. Surrounded by beautiful people, laughing, doing amazing things, seeing amazing things, being with amazing people. But then when you wake up on a Monday And even though you've had the time of your life all weekend, you're sad and you're lonely. And I didn't want that anymore. And that's a big reason why I wanted to change, because I was tired of living 2 or 3 days of my life trying to build back to my mindset that I had that I had developed, right? You know, I was really good at faking it, but I didn't want to be sad anymore. So it's made me way happier. It's also exponentialized my returns on fitness, because I don't have, even if I would work out on a day that I was hungover, I'm not getting as much out of that. Not only that, I put a bunch of poison in my body the night before. So even if I'm putting forth great effort, I'm still not getting as good as I would have without it. And that's something that really got me. I was like, man, like, I am selling myself short in life because I'm choosing to partake in this drug on a consistent basis. And even though I still did live a good life, I wasn't what I could be. And I feel like I am truly, at 41 years old, I stopped drinking at 39, right? So it took me 40 years to figure out that I wanted to really be the best version of me. I would have told you through my 20s and my 30s that I definitely wanted to be the best version of me. But my actions didn't say that. And I'm not shaming anybody, because drinking is fun. It can be fun. It can be the most dangerous thing in the world also. But what it does is it holds you back. It can take away confidence. The confidence you have when you're drinking is taken away times that much when you're hungover. It's taken away times that much when you're having the Monday blues, right? Who wants to live that way? Why do you want to have a shitty Monday? And that's what I had to tell myself. What? Why do I want to live this way? It is in no way making me better. I can still be as funny, as outgoing, and as valuable drinking water. And that's something that I had to really realize for myself and put into play. So it's enhanced my life tenfold, which has made me more well-rounded in everything. It's made me more consistent. It's made me kinder. It's really helped my patience. That was one of the things that, like, whenever I was like tired or hungover or whatever, man, my patience was zero. So yeah, every single possible way you could think to get better, it's made me that way. No, every single possible way. There is literally no benefit to drinking alcohol in my life. So that's that. Thank you for that question. Same asker. Thank you for this. What's the craziest thing you've ever encountered on a run? So, I mean, for those of you guys who follow me and for those of you guys who see, I run on the Las Vegas Strip a lot. So, I mean, there's not a shortness or a lack of crazy things I see on a daily basis on a run. I'm hopping over homeless people asleep on the curb 10 times in a 10K run. But probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me on a run was during the pandemic. It was 2020. It was June of 2020. It was early morning. It was like 6 a.m. And I was running by the mountains. For those who know the area, it was Mountain's Edge, and it was right on Fort Apache, close to Cactus. So basically, when Fort Apache and Cactus hit, it's literally the end of the city. It's literally the Mountain's Edge. And I was in the neighborhood right before that. So it goes Mountain's Edge, Cactus. And I had just crossed Mountain's Edge, so I was almost to the absolute end of the city. It's 6 a.m. The sun is just coming up, and something jumps out of over the wall of one of the houses in the backyards, and boom, right in front of me lands a coyote. and we both kind of like backed up and like stared at each other, and we like had a little bit of a standoff. And then I realized he wasn't going to bite me, and he realized I wasn't going to try and kill him, or I wasn't trying to kill him. And we kind of both like kept our eyes on each other and like backed away probably 20 yards. Once we both felt safe, I turned around and started jogging. Probably another 20 yards later, I was just like, what is that coyote doing? So I stopped and I turned around, and this coyote stopped and turned around and looked at me too. Like, he wondered the same thing about me, and we kind of like made eye contact, and we looked at each other and kind of like gave the head nod and just like went on our own separate ways. So I've seen a lot of coyotes whenever I'm running, but that was the closest encounter that I've had to one. So that was a pretty wild thing that's happened to me on a run. Other than that, I mean, for those of you who are my running friends, the most dangerous thing about running is not timing the bathroom correctly. So other than that, it's kind of self-inflicted. So you just got to watch out for that. But yeah, watch out for coyotes too. I know that here in Vegas, mountain lions are spotted frequently on the west side of town where I live. Never encountered one of those, knock on wood. Hopefully I don't. I'd be much more scared of a mountain lion than I would a coyote. But the coyote was pretty cool. So that was a fun experience. Let's see here. Next question. Oh man. Let's go one more. What are the top 3 books you'd recommend to your subscribers to become a more well-rounded individual? So I love this question, and I'm actually going to give you 5. I have them written down, maybe 6. Where are they? So these all have changed my life, or just the way I think about things. But I would say the very first book that I ever read that changed how I thought about my life and about my capabilities and about using my brain to create what I wanted was called The Code to the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhishi. And it has a term in it that I don't know if he coined it, but it's called becoming unfuckwithable. And when you become unfuckwithable, nothing anyone says, does, or acts around you can affect your inner peace, because you are so at one with yourself that outsides don't influence you. You are so becoming unfuckwithable through The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. It was the very first self-help book I ever read. I think I read this in like 2015 or 2016 when I first moved to Vegas. So that's a great one. Another really good one that I love that I've read it like 3 times. It's called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. And they're very short. It's like almost like verses, right? So it's like a lesson a day. And I've gone through it at least 3 times. It is an amazing way to start your day. You know, you cannot, this goes back to gratitude, right, as well. Like, you cannot start your day in a poor state of mind when you're putting positivity in your mind very first thing of the day. So if you're struggling with your mental, pick that book up. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. Do 1 chapter a day. They're like a page, maybe 2 pages long. Super easy, super digestible. You can read it in 2 to 5 minutes. And the name is that for a reason. Change Your Thoughts to Change Your Life. Wayne Dyer. Good one. Third one that I would recommend is how to win friends and influence people. Really love this book. It really helped me to be more likable, I think, because, you know, as an athlete and as someone I've been so selfish throughout my life to think about like me. What do I think? I think is best, yada, 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 and not seeing other people's perspectives. It really helped me to think about relating to other people more and better. Um, it's been a couple years since I read it, but it is one that like profoundly changed how I behaved and my mindset when it came to other people's perspectives and other people's opinions. So another good one, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Um, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Can't really go super deep into that one. It's been a couple years since I read it as well. But it goes back to like that mental aspect of things, right? So what you create and what you are is within your mind. And everything on this earth, rich, great, amazing, was created by other human beings. Think and Grow Rich. Actually, I should read that one again so I could talk about it more. But I really liked it. I really liked it. It really helped me. And then I got two more I'm going to add. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Freaking, if you know me, you know that I love David Goggins. I've been talking into the the camera on my phone since 2017. So, yeah, he is someone that I really look up to, and just like his mental approach to life and training and being a badass, because, that's something that I really like, that I hold pride in myself, is that like kind of being a bad motherfucker, right? But something else that I really hold dear to myself is that like I want to be the kindest bad motherfucker you ever met. And that you can't even believe that I can do some of the, or that I do some of the things that I do after you meet me, because I'm so nice. But his mindset has really helped me. It helped me realize that I'm so much more capable of what I thought I was. And then one last one, especially if you're selling something, if you're an entrepreneur, and if you have to sell yourself, it's called Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. And something that through the pandemic, when I started doing my online training program, something that I read in that book really changed my mind about everything as far as sales went. And it said, don't treat what you're doing like selling a product. Treat what you're doing like providing a high-end service. So when you treat your business and you treat yourself, whether it be in communication or interactions or training, or it doesn't matter what, if you're selling a product even, make the experience of the buyer so good that it feels like you're providing them a high-end experience, right? You're not just selling them a product, you're providing a service. So that changed how I approached what I do, and it's been really impactful. So I know Grant Cardone has a really strong personality on social media, and I think that was his first book. I read it a few years ago, but that made a profound difference on how I think about things as far as business goes. All right, let's go in here. Hope you guys are getting a lot out of this. I know I'm just answering these questions. I hope I'm providing good answers. I'm hoping that it's valuable to you, and that the perspective maybe is one that you haven't thought of before, or even if it is, it reiterates, a way to improve, or just a nuanced perspective that can help you think. All right, let's get back to these questions. Let's go into this one. Okay, so do you believe in seasonal depression? And if so, how to cope with it? I don't know. So here's the thing, is that I don't know if I believe in it in Vegas, because it's sunny like literally 95% of the days. It does get colder, and there are nuances to the seasons, right? Summer, everyone's, having fun. Fall is spooky season. Then winter, after the holidays, I think that seasonal depression hits people around January 2nd, right? January 2nd through, let's say, spring break, right? When it's cold and it kind of drags on, you're having long months. I know where I grew up, especially January and February were horrible because it would snow, the snow would melt, it would be dirty, it would be like gray and everywhere, and it would just be freezing cold. You couldn't walk anywhere without getting your shoes muddy. That was depressing for sure. Sometimes you didn't see the sun for a week or two because it was just cloudy. So I truly believe in seasonal depression as far as the climate goes. Here, maybe not as much because I feel like the sun has real healing power, and it's so sunny in here all the time that personally, I don't really get seasonal depression here. I remember growing up and just thinking how bad it sucked in the winter, but I've never thought that here because even when it's cold in Vegas, the sun's still out. So you can it's fun to go shopping for like hoodies and beanies and scarves and stuff like that. And you can really accessorize like fashion when it comes to that. But yeah, I guess it depends on where you are. For me personally, I guess it is a real thing. I don't experience it here per se, but I think the best way to deal with it, and this is you're probably not going to be surprised by this, but get as much sun as you can and work out. Exercise every day. If you feel depressed in any way, you should exercise. Free dopamine, right? Free endorphins. Takes a little work, but that's okay. This morning I went on a run and my quads are just so tired today, and I knew it was going to suck. It took me 4 miles this morning to even feel like I even got in a groove. So that was a long time of just eating the pain. And eventually it turned around and I felt a little bit better. So you're going to go through some suck at first when it comes to fighting your depression with exercise. And that's okay. That's going to be worth it. And you're going to be proud of it when you're done. So common theme. Who would have thought, coming from an athlete and from a personal trainer and someone who owns and runs a fitness business, that exercise is my answer to many questions. So cool. Thanks for the question. All right, let's see here. I got about 10 minutes to go, so I think I'm going to be able to get through most of these. How do you personally breathe when you run? In, nose, out of mouth. I try as best as I can to nose breathe, fully nose breathe when I'm running. Even on long runs when I'm at pretty strong pace, I try to do that. You have to really build yourself to that. But I don't do in, nose, out, mouth. Never have my entire life. I've always thought that that's the exact opposite of what it should be. I think it should be in mouth, out nose. And the reasoning behind this is because I feel like I can get more oxygen to my lungs breathing through my mouth, and I can clear my nose by blowing it out, right? Through the nose and out through the mouth, to me, just never made sense. I'm sure that there are people who can scientifically prove me wrong, but even if they gave me the greatest reasoning in the world, I would still never do it because I don't like it. So I try to breathe just through my nose as much as possible. In through mouth, out through nose. But man, sometimes when you're really putting in an effort and you're pushing, just breathing. I forget that how I'm breathing sometimes because I'm working so hard. So, man, maybe that's not that great of an answer, but that's my answer. Let's see here. Talk the nuances of habits, motivation, discipline, and routine. Yeah, it's just, I think if you don't already have habits, discipline is the way to get the habits. If you don't have discipline, you need to start setting processes And by processes, what I mean is write things down. Create a list of things to do every day that you have to check off, right? So, for instance, set your shoes out the night before. Get your gym bag ready the night before. Put a freaking note on your bathroom mirror that says "Make your bed," right? So, small things done consistently over time lead to big and good things. Let me repeat that. Small actions taken consistently over time lead to great success. Write things down. Follow the process. Hold yourself accountable, right? So we are the easiest person to lie to in our entire lives. Who else is it easier to lie to than yourself? Don't allow yourself to do that. If your friend lied to you as much as you lied to you, they wouldn't be your friend anymore. So stop feeding yourself full of bullshit. Be a good friend to you. Stop lying to yourself. What you say you're going to do it. If you don't have confidence that you will do it without a process, write it down. Create a punishment, if not. Maybe not a punishment, but a consequence. Like, if I don't insert thing that you want to stay disciplined on, then I have to give this amount of money to charity I don't like or believe in. Right? That's a pretty big motivator. If you got to pay money to someone you don't like, if you don't do an action you'll want to take, what else is going to help you do it? What else will make you do it? Sounds like a pretty good fix to me. But also I was having a conversation with Greg Rogers. Shout out to Greg. This morning, maybe it was yesterday morning, and through DM this week. And we were talking about how a problem that he and I both have, that we just assume that everyone else wants to be the best version of themselves. And it's hard because not everyone does. But hopefully what I've said in this answer will help you want to be the best version of yourself. Because that's important. Because nobody else is going to want it for you more than you should want it for you. Nobody's going to want it for you more than you should want it for you. So, write things down. Create habit until it's not. Create routine to create discipline for habit until it's not a chore anymore. That may be, it may take longer for some people than others, but do it until it's just what you do. So that's a good one. Yeah, so I really want to get into these ones. Let's see here. Quite a few. I think I've talked about the sober journey. I have some more sober journey. Some advice that I would give to someone trying to stay disciplined in their sobriety and in their fitness. Know that one leads to the other. The longer you say no to booze or substance and you replace it with something good like fitness, the better you're going to get at what you actually want to do, and the further it's going to pull you away from the substance. Because when you can replace, a lot of times they say, like, a lot of addicts get into running or they get addicted to fitness or anything like that. And so they're just swapping one addiction for the next. And I'm not sure whether I agree with that or not, but if it's true, good. Of course. They're addicted to something good now that's improving their life. So what? Like, if they wake up and run every day, anyone who thinks that that is weird needs to check themselves, look in the mirror and look at their own life, because that's a positive thing someone's doing for themselves every single day. So, shout out to my friend who sent me this. Yeah, that's the advice I would give to someone trying to stay disciplined in a sobriety journey and a fitness journey, is to use one for the other. It's okay to become addicted to fitness. It's good for you. It's good for the people around you. By proxy, you improve others. You're becoming something that someone wants to aspire to. Swap it out. The good for the bad. Find something that you can get addicted to that's going to help everyone. That's what I would say. How much time I got? A couple minutes. I'm going to skip the dad questions for now, just because, I know a lot of my family watches this, and it doesn't make any sense for me to throw him under the bus publicly. So I'm going to completely skip those questions. But know that it's made me better as a father. Until I became a father, I didn't realize as much as what you shouldn't do. Because when you grow up a certain way, you don't realize what's wrong until you see better. And you want better and you do better. So yeah, I think becoming a father helped me realize that. I'm not really sure about forgiveness or anything like that. I don't think that that's my my duty. I don't hold a grudge, but I know what's right and what's wrong, and I choose to separate myself from that. But yeah, so that's as far as I'm going to go in. I'm going to answer one more question, then we're going to be done, because we're about at an hour. We're at an hour, pretty close. Okay. So let's go into one about my son, my favorite subject. We'll finish with that. Yeah, so my son, this question was, as a single dad raising a son with autism, how's your experience shaped the way you approach challenges, both as a parent and in your fitness training? And what lessons have you learned that have changed the way you see the world and approach life's challenges? And I would say the biggest thing, man, because for those people that have met my son, man, people don't think autism is a spectrum. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. But many people are really surprised when they find out. But one of the biggest things that I've been able, patience is what it's taught me. And I think this goes for all parents. I don't want to single out my son or anyone like on an autism spectrum, but patience through children, right? Because boys are hyperactive. And with a son who's got a little bit of a communication barrier, that can't have a conversation with you, it's harder to figure out what exactly they want sometimes. But that's something that really has improved my communication skills and my listening skills and my just the skill that I have to observe and to know what's happening and know what people are thinking and what they want without having to be told. I think is an amazing thing that he's taught me. Patience and just the innocence of children and the absolute just like joy that they have within themselves, even if they're doing something that kind of gets on your nerves, right? They don't understand that. They are in their own world, they are experiencing something completely different that they're not understanding that someone else has a problem with, from outside. They're experiencing something from their own perspective and having grace with that and having patience and being able to love that about them and being able to love that people are different. Everyone who's ever created in this world started as a baby, and we started as innocent. And whether you grew up to be a great person or you grew up to be a bad person, there are something along the way either helped you grow or it screwed you up. There are things that we go through, and we can take one road or the other. So I just want to encourage, in an ending, to round it up to know that those experiences that you're experiencing, you have the opportunity and the choice to take the positive road and become greater and grow from it and be more well-rounded and be better, or to play the victim and try to make an excuse for self-serving reasons. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thank you for everyone who submitted questions. I really appreciate it. This was really fun for me. That hour flew by. Depending on how you guys liked it, maybe we'll do it again sometime. But I do have another great guest next week, so stay tuned. We're going to have a two-person show next week. And subscribe, follow YouTube, follow on Spotify. I'll put all that on my Instagram and on my socials as well. And we'll see you next week.